working past it?
You just got to keep playing. I mean, refs are trash, but hey, we move.
Refs are trash. There's a brutal, undeniable reality about WNBA officiating that the league desperately tries to hide from every single person who pays to watch these games. Natasha Cloud and Alicia Gray just erupted on referees during live play, clapping in officials' faces, charging at opponents after getting hit, storming across the court ready to fight, and both walked away with 0 technical fouls. 0. Meanwhile, Caitlin Clark claps one time in the direction of another player and gets slapped with a technical foul before the echo even fades. The double standard is not subtle, it is not debatable. It is blatant, it is documented, and after what we just witnessed this week, the entire facade of impartial officiating in the WNBA has completely collapsed. Welcome back. This is Hoops Vision, and today we are ripping the doors off the most glaring officiating bias scandal in women's basketball and exposing exactly why Caitlin Clark has been forced to absorb punishment that her peers never face. Let me be entirely clear with you before we go 1 second further. This is not about one game, this is not about one missed call. This is about a systematic, deliberate pattern of enforcement that punishes the biggest star in the sport while giving her rivals and her haters a free pass to do the exact same behavior without consequence. And before I show you the receipts, and I have 3 separate clips that prove this beyond any shadow of a doubt, I need you to understand the stakes here. Because what we are watching is not just bad officiating. What we are watching is the active sabotage of Caitlin Clark's ability to compete on a level playing field. And the people who run this league are counting on you not noticing. But we noticed, and we documented everything. Now, if you have been following Hoops Vision for the last 3 weeks, you already know I have been breaking down this exact bias in multiple videos. The footage is there. The pattern is there, the proof is there. And every single prediction I made about how this would escalate has come true. Receipts are in the comments of my last video. Go check it right now if you missed it, because what I am about to show you is the next chapter in a story that keeps getting worse. Let me walk you through exactly what happened. Natasha Cloud, during a live game, completely lost her composure on the court. She clapped directly in the face of her referee, not once. Multiple times she was snapping. She was gesturing, she was going off in a way that, according to the broadcast announcers themselves, would typically result in an immediate technical foul. The announcer said it on air, quote, "I have seen technicals be assessed for that." End quote. But Natasha Cloud, no technical, no warning, no consequence, nothing. The ref stood there and took it, and the game continued like it never happened. Now let me ask you this. When Caitlin Clark clapped in the direction of a player earlier this season, not even at a referee but toward another player, what happened? She got hit with a technical foul instantly. Instantly. No hesitation, no discussion. The whistle blew, the tech was called, and Caitlin Clark paid the price. But when Natasha Cloud does the exact same thing directly in a ref's face on national television with cameras rolling, she walks away clean. You see the problem here. You see the bias? This is what people are talking about when they say the officiating in the WNBA is broken, because the rules are not being applied equally. They are being applied selectively, and the player getting punished over and over again is Caitlin Clark. But it gets worse, because Natasha Cloud is not the only one who got away with behavior that would have ended Caitlin Clark's night. Alicia Gray, in that same game, got hit in the face during play. And instead of walking it off or talking to the ref, she snapped. She got up off the floor and immediately stormed toward her opponent. She was marching straight at the other player. Her teammate had to physically tackle her out of the way to stop a full-blown confrontation from happening on the court. Her own teammate had to shove her backward to prevent an altercation. Now I want every single person watching this video to sit with that image for a second. Alicia Gray charging at an opponent, her teammate having to intervene. Cameras capturing the whole thing, and the refs, they did nothing. No technical foul, no ejection, no consequence. But if Caitlin Clark had done that, if Caitlin Clark had gotten up and stormed toward another player after taking a hit, do you think she would have stayed in that game? Do you think the refs would have let that slide? Absolutely not. She would have been hit with a technical foul before she took 3 steps. And you know it, I know it, everybody watching this video knows it, and here is the part that should end the conversation. Don't take my word for it. Alicia Gray said it herself. After the game, in a post-game interview on national television on CBS, she was asked about the officiating, and this is what she said. Watch this.
Caitlin Clark is the victim. She never plays the role of the victim. She spoke up publicly. Thomas came out publicly and said she's been getting death threats to her and her family, and there has...
She said it with cameras rolling on CBS, national broadcast. Alicia Gray looked into the camera and said, quote, "Refs are trash." End quote. Refs are trash. Let me say it back to you in case you missed it. A WNBA player on national television during a post-game interview called the referees trash, and there has been 0 fallout, 0 discipline, 0 accountability. She said it, the league heard it, and nothing happened. Now imagine if Caitlin Clark said that. Imagine if Caitlin Clark, after one of the dozens of times she has been fouled without a call, looked into a camera on national television and said the refs are trash. Do you think that would have been brushed under the rug? Do you think the league would have stayed silent? Absolutely not. It would have been a multi-day news cycle. She would have been fined. She would have been publicly reprimanded. The establishment would have come down on her with the full weight of the league office. But when Alicia Gray says it, silence. Absolute deafening, calculated silence. This is the double standard we are documenting. This is the bias Caitlin Clark has been forced to navigate every single game. And if you think this is an isolated incident, you have not been paying attention. Let me escalate this for you because what we just watched is not a one-time mistake by the officials. This is a tactical failure by the people who are supposed to be running a professional basketball league. The referees in the WNBA have one job: enforce the rules equally, maintain control of the game, and protect the integrity of competition. And they are failing at all three, systematically, deliberately, repeatedly. Here is what the officials did wrong in this specific incident. When Natasha Cloud clapped in their faces, they had the opportunity to set a standard. They had the opportunity to say out loud with a technical foul that disrespecting officials will not be tolerated in this league. But they did not do that. They stood there, they absorbed it, they let her walk away. And in doing so, they sent a message to every other player in the league that the rules do not apply equally, that some players can get away with behavior that others cannot. That is not officiating. That is sabotage. And when Alicia Gray charged at an opponent and had to be physically restrained by her own teammate, the refs had another opportunity. They could have called a technical foul. They could have ejected her from the game. They could have sent the message that aggressive, confrontational behavior will result in consequences. But once again, they did nothing. They let it slide. They allowed the situation to escalate to the point where a teammate had to intervene, and then they pretended it never happened. That is not game management. That is negligence. But here is what really exposes the bias. When Caitlin Clark claps not at a ref but at another player, she gets a technical foul immediately. When Kelsey Plum does the same thing, she gets a technical foul. When Breena Stewart does the same thing, she gets a technical foul. But when the players who have been openly critical of Caitlin Clark do it, when Natasha Cloud does it, when Alicia Gray storms the court, nothing. No whistle, no consequence. The rules are being selectively enforced, and the player being punished is the one who sells out arenas and drives television ratings. And this is not the first time. Let me give you the pattern of behavior because this has been happening all season long. 3 weeks ago, Caitlin Clark was called for technical foul after clapping once in the direction of an opponent. The call was immediate. The announcers questioned it. The fans questioned it. But the technical stood, and Caitlin Clark had to play the rest of the game knowing that any visible frustration would result in another tech and an ejection. 2 weeks ago, Chennedy Carter bodychecked Caitlin Clark off the ball in a play that was so blatant, so deliberate, that it went viral within hours. And the refs did not call a flagrant foul. They did not review it. They let it go. Meanwhile, Caitlin Clark gets breathed on at the three-point line and the whistle blows for a defensive foul against her. 1 week ago, Johnny Carrington elbowed Caitlin Clark in the face during a scramble for the ball. Blood was drawn. Caitlin Clark had to leave the game to get her eye checked, and the officials reviewed the play and ruled it a common foul, not a flagrant, not even a technical, a common foul. But when Caitlin Clark so much as gestures in frustration, she gets a technical foul before the gesture is even complete. 3 games, 3 identical patterns. 3 times Caitlin Clark paid the price while her opponents walked away clean. This is not coincidence. This is not bad luck. This is a deliberate, systematic double standard, and it is being enforced by officials who either cannot see the bias or refuse to acknowledge it. And here is where the complicity gets even worse. Because the referees are not the only ones responsible for this mess. The people who enable this behavior, the coaches, the front office executives, the broadcast analysts who refuse to call it out on air are just as guilty. When Alicia Gray said the refs are trash on national television, where was the league office? Where was the public statement condemning that kind of disrespect? Where was the fine? Where was the suspension? Nowhere. The league stayed silent. The establishment stayed silent, and every single one of them watched this double standard play out in real time and chose to do nothing. Let me tell you who else stayed silent. The head coaches of the teams involved. When Natasha Cloud clapped in the refs' faces, her head coach did not pull her aside, did not sub her out, did not publicly address the behavior in the post-game press conference. The coach let it slide just like the refs did. And when Alicia Gray had to be physically restrained by a teammate, her coach did not bench her for the rest of the game, did not call a timeout to reset the team's composure, did not take any accountability for allowing the situation to escalate that far. The coaches are complicit. The front offices are complicit. The broadcast networks are complicit. And every single one of them stayed silent, while Caitlin Clark continues to be held to a standard that nobody else in the league has to meet.
Keep working past it. You just got to keep playing. I mean, refs are trash, but hey, we move.
Refs are trash.
And here is the receipt nobody on TV will play for you because of what it proves. Linda Cohn of ESPN addressed this exact issue on air, and what she said should have been the headline of every sports show in the country. Watch this.
Caitlin Clark is the victim. She never plays the role of the victim. She spoke up publicly. Thomas came out publicly and said she's been getting death threats to her and her family, And there has
Linda Cohn said it on ESPN. She said, and I am paraphrasing here because of how precise this was, that Caitlin Clark never plays the victim. That even when she is the one being targeted, even when she is the one absorbing the hate and the cheap shots and the double standards, she takes the high road. She does not complain, she does not make excuses. She goes out and plays basketball, and Linda Cohn is right. Caitlin Clark has handled this situation with more grace and professionalism than the league, the refs, and her critics combined. But here's what Linda Cohn also said, and this is the part that should terrify the WNBA. She said the bad officiating in the WNBA has led to most of this controversy. Most of it, not some of it, not a little bit of it, most of it. The chaos, the drama, the double standards, the player frustration. All of it traces back to officiating that is inconsistent, biased, and completely incapable of controlling the game. And when someone with Linda Cohn's credibility says that on a national broadcast, you know the problem is not imaginary. You know the bias is not in the fans' heads. You know this is real, it is documented, and it is destroying the integrity of the league. And here is the cost. Here is what Caitlin Clark has lost because of this double standard. Every single time she gets called for technical foul that her peers do not get called for, she loses the ability to show emotion on the court. She loses the ability to compete with the same fire and intensity that made her the most dominant player in college basketball history. She has to play every game knowing that if she claps, if she gestures, if she so much as looks frustrated, the refs will hit her with a technical foul and put her one step closer to an ejection. Meanwhile, Natasha Cloud can clap in a ref's face. Alicia Gray can charge at an opponent. Johnny Carrington can elbow her in the face, and none of them face the same consequences. That is what Caitlin Clark's rookie season is being burned for, not for her own mistakes, not for her own lack of discipline, but for a double standard that punishes her for behavior the league allows everyone else to get away with. And if the WNBA does not fix this, if the officials do not start enforcing the rules equally, they are going to destroy the career of the most marketable, most talented, most important player they have ever had. Now let me lay out the verdict. And I am going to stake 5 predictions here because I want every single person watching this video to save this timestamp and come back in 2 weeks to see if I was right. Here we go. If the WNBA does not issue a public statement addressing officiating inconsistency by the end of this month, I want every single person to come back and roast me in the comments. But here's what I actually think is going to happen. The league is going to stay silent. They are going to hope this blows over. They are going to count on the media moving on to the next controversy, and the double standard is going to continue. Save this clip. On her next game, we are going to see Caitlin Clark do exactly what she has done all season, take the high road. She is not going to complain to the refs. She is not going to call them trash on national television. She's going to go out, drop 30 points, and let her game do the talking. And the people who hate her are going to find something else to criticize because that is what they do. Mark this video. Neither Natasha Cloud nor Alicia Gray will face any discipline from the league for their behavior in this game. No fines, no suspensions, no public reprimands. The league is going to pretend it never happened, just like they pretend every double standard never happens. Watch the next 2 weeks. The story is going to break wide open when one of the major sports outlets, ESPN, The Athletic, or Sports Illustrated, runs the deep dive article they are already sitting on about officiating bias in the WNBA. And when that article drops, it is going to confirm everything we have been documenting on this channel for the last month. The receipts are coming. And the season ends with Caitlin Clark leading the Indiana Fever to the playoffs despite the double standards, despite the hate, despite the officials working against her every single game. And when she does, the people who spent all season trying to tear her down are going to have to sit there and watch her succeed anyway. Mark this video, save the timestamp, come back in 8 weeks and tell me I was wrong. Here is the closing emotional beat and I want you to listen closely. Right now as I am recording this video, Caitlin Clark is in the gym. She is not complaining, she is not making excuses, she is not calling refs trash on national television. She is working. She is preparing for the next game. She is doing the thing that her haters said she could not do, succeeding in the WNBA despite a league that refuses to protect her. And every single game she plays, every single bucket she scores, every single win she delivers for the Indiana Fever is a reminder that talent wins, that greatness cannot be stopped by bad officiating or jealous peers or biased enforcement. Caitlin Clark is proving that right now, in real time. And the people who tried to break her are watching her rise anyway. Drop your most honest take in the comments. Is Caitlin Clark being held to a double standard that no other player in the WNBA has to meet, or is the officiating actually fair and we are all imagining the bias? Pick a side, defend it. I want to hear from every single person watching this video. And while you are down there, save this comment. I just predicted that neither Natasha Cloud nor Alicia Gray will face discipline from the league for their behavior in this game. If I am right by the end of this week, come back and tell me. If I am wrong, roast me, I will own it. Tag the friend who keeps telling you Caitlin Clark gets preferential treatment from the refs, make them watch this video and tell you they still believe it. I will wait. And here is what is coming next. Tomorrow we are going to break down the All-Star voting results and why Caitlin Clark getting the second most fan votes but only the third most media votes proves the establishment is still trying to diminish her impact. If you are not subscribed, you are going to miss it. Hit the bell. This is Hoops Vision. We will see you in the next video.